Major breaking news in the National League, plus Cutino Award finalists announced in men's college water polo, and we check in on the women's college water polo scene with a couple of Cal Bears, all coming up next on a brand new episode of The Counterattack. Hi everyone, Greg Mescall here. Thanks for joining us on The Counterattack right here on USA Water Polo and on Overnght. Let's jump into the big news of the week. For the first time ever, the USA Water Polo National League will have a cash prize, thanks to John Weeman and the Holos Law Group, who have brought a $25,000 prize pool to the National League to be allocated to the top 3 finishers in the traditional or open division of the National League. This is monumental. It levels the league up in a major way. National League was already trending in a really positive direction over the last couple of seasons. You saw more clubs taking part. You saw the energy picking up, athletes at a high level competing, both foreign and domestic. It is only going to add to the excitement ahead of the National League that starts February 6th. Brand new logo this year, more clubs, more competition, NorCal and SoCal, plus the addition of 18U water polo. It all makes for a super exciting National League. And this prize pool, $25K, go into the top 3 finishers in that open division of the National League, only adds to the excitement. Let's get some more thoughts from John Weeman and the Holos Law Group. As a reminder, they brought this prize money to the National League, and John says top-level competition that comes with prize money helps build excitement, not just among the athletes, but also the fans. Our fans deserve to see top athletes compete in a highly competitive league here at home, and our age group athletes deserve to see high-level water polo played by people they can aspire to become. With this sponsorship, the goal is to help grow the sport in this country and grow this league. I'm confident the National League can rival those in other countries. Just an awesome development. Again, big thanks to John and the Holos Law Group for making this happen. First ever cash prize for the USA Water Polo National League. Don't forget, action starts February 6th, live streaming right here on Overnght. Live stats, 6-8 Sports, National League Championship. Details still to be announced, but early May, and that's where we'll find out who's going to take home the money. The first, second, third place teams, they're the ones eligible for that $25,000 prize pool allocation. Now we turn to the world of women's college water polo. As we mentioned last week on the show, got underway at the Polo Palooza and a couple of other sites around the country. More action this past weekend. Cal playing host to the Bridget Donner Dawes Memorial Competition. Look at some of the action that took place here on Overnght as we check in on some highlights from this past weekend.
Can't miss this one, right? Yep. There's Jenna Flynn with the shot from the top. Pop nod with the try. Quick counter the other way. Flynn, shot bottom right. And this is the team we're used to seeing for Stanford. At the top. Back over the right side. 20 seconds in the shot clock, and it doesn't matter. What a shot from Jenna Flynn on the right side of that offense. A strike off the top. Inside 6 here. Faking. Shot. Right side. Easy. Taking it is Rosalie Hassett. And top of the cage it goes. The Cal Golden Bears. Skill will now swim it up with 3 seconds. One last shot in the third. Will it go? Will they count it? They will. Fonseca with a goal. The second one of the season.
And we keep moving on to our college scoreboard. UC Davis over San Jose State, 11-8. UCLA Bruins in action, defeating the Beach, 18-7. LMU and McKendree getting together. That was down in Tempe, 24-10 for the Lions. And then back east, Harvard over Wagner, 12-5. That's a nice early season win on the East Coast for the Crimson. Switching gears, men's college water polo. Cutino Award finalists announced this week by the Olympic Club. Your reigning Cutino Award champ, the UCLA Bruin, Ryder Dodd. He's back as a finalist again, coming off his sophomore season. Also returning as a finalist, but with a new team, Mihailo Vukovic. He was a finalist last year with Pacific, now in this season with USC. And also joining him, his USC teammate, Robert Lopez Duarte, also a finalist. So 2 Trojans and a Bruin. We'll find out in early June who the Cutino Award winner is for the men. Will learn the women's finalists at the conclusion of the women's season. But again, congrats to those 3 being honored as finalists. More congratulations on the way. A pause on the European club slate due to the European Championships. And congratulations to Serbia claiming the European title on the men's side. Women's European Championships underway now. That'll also signal the return of men's club play in Europe. A lot of the Team USA guys competing in Europe, they've been on a pause right now, but getting back to competition shortly. Speaking of international water polo, well, this is twofold. One, it's the return of a Team USA Olympic gold medalist, Paige Hauschild, returning to Team USA. The Tokyo Olympic gold medalist finished up her career at USC, stepped away from competitive water polo, still caught her at a Masters tourney every now and again, but has more in the tank. She's back with Team USA. She was part of their recent training trip to Europe, and now she's headed back to the international ranks as well. She is signed on with Cien Mataro, joining Team USA teammate Jewel Romer in Spain. So excited for Paige to get that opportunity. And as you think all things Paige Hauschild, take a look at our latest Get to Know video as we tell you more about the Santa Barbara native.
Oh my God. Okay, from the top, right? Okay. Hi, my name is Paige Hauschild. I am an Olympic gold medalist. I am from Santa Barbara, California, went to USC, and I'm an attacker here for Team USA. Started playing water polo when I was about 8 years old, actually with my current teammate, Ryan Muschel, which has been super fun to be here on the senior team with her. And my favorite water polo memory has to be the Tokyo Olympic Games and taking home gold. After Tokyo, I had 2 more years of college, so competed at USC, ended up graduating and taking a job straight out of college, which I was super excited about, but ultimately did miss the team, did miss water polo, and felt like I still had more to give to this program and to my teammates, so decided to come back, and it's been fun so far. If I had any advice for someone in a similar situation, it would just be to follow your heart. It was something that I knew I wanted to do and just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity while I still could. For me, it was just following my heart and what I really wanted to
do. And as you can see from our schedule here, more Dare to Dream to come. 3 events this weekend. Then we head to Pennsylvania and Hawaii. We'll share photos here on the show each week. You just love these pictures. So much joy and excitement for the sport of water polo. And for so many athletes, really maybe their first big event where they get a chance to cap up with their teammates. And now time for our big conversation. We'll stick with the topic of women's college water polo. As we told you at the top, talking with a couple of Cal Bears. We welcome in head coach of the Cal Bears, Coralie Simmons, and goalkeeper Talia Fonseca. These two joined me earlier this week to talk about their time in Berkeley, looking back at last season, looking ahead at the games to come, and then also a little bit of their own journeys. Coralie, part of that 2000 Olympic silver medal squad that was honored last fall at the Legacy Crown. And then Talia's had a great journey. Originally growing up in the East Bay of Northern California, relocating to Georgia, having to join a brand new water polo team, commute back and forth, and then making her way to Cal, ending right back in Northern California. Here's our latest big conversation. All right, our latest big conversation here on the Counterattack women's college water polo season has begun. We're talking Cal Bears head coach Coralie Simmons, goalie Talia Fonseca. How we doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing okay. Good to see you both here. Bears off to a good start. Cor, I'll start with you. Coming off the event, tell us a bit more about the tournament you just hosted. I know Cal had often held this event, but now renamed, a very special honor to someone close to the Cal community. Could you just share a bit more about the Bridget Donner Dawes tourney and how that naming came about and what she has meant, and then how the weekend went?
Yeah, we are fortunate to host one of the premier January tournaments, and quite a privilege for us. And then in talking with alumni through the years and wanting to kind of make even more special, got talking around celebrating Bridget and wanting to bring her spirit into our season and how we get to start things out and operate as a team with her kind of presence early in the season and sharing that with our squad and with alumni. The first annual turned out to be a great jumpstart to the naming of the tournament around Bridget, and then it jumpstarts our season to be great and celebrate it with not only our families, our alumni as well. And so the turnout was in the 60s or 70s, and got to kind of go back to alumni's glory days, share that with the squad, and celebrate Bridget. And I think the team really enjoyed having that alumni presence and celebrating Bridget and making our tournament even more special.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that we've seen more naming of tourneys. The Barbara Calves invite, for example, is coming up. I think for many years it was just very boring, like the NorCal tourney and the SoCal. So it's nice that we're able to, I think, remember some important people in the water polo community. Talia, from your perspective in the water, obviously you're off to an undefeated start, but looking back at this past weekend, what went right for you all when you look at the official matches that took place?
Yeah, for sure. This weekend, we really tried to stay true to team vibes entirely. And that was really helpful, seeing alum and everything. And, being in the pool and being in speaker, you see that you're playing for something so much bigger. And that was prevalent through the naming of the tournament, which was really exciting. But this weekend, we were really focused on playing team defense, team offense, and that all stays true to communication and talking in the pool, talking outside of the pool, just the team chemistry all around.
And then just backing up a bit, and Cora, I'll go back to you. You started off Polo Palooza, a great tourney name. Looked a touch cold there in Fresno, just some of the video, some of the fog and things coming off the water. But to get that win early, I don't make too much out of defeating Hawaii at this point in the season, but that tends to be a game we kind of come back to later in the year and think, hey, how did Cal and Hawaii do? Just big picture, how important was it to come out and play really well from a win-loss perspective? I'm sure there's things you want to do differently, but to get the win, how key was it to just be kind of hitting on all cylinders in some critical games early?
Yeah, it's a benefit for us to be able to put things on the line this early in the season. Yeah, you're for sure right in terms of some of these big games have been coming up against the Wahines in the past and present. And although we got to see them at Legacy Crown, kind of remind them of the importance of playing the top teams at a level that we want to this early in the season. And then that was proven true with how we performed at the Palooza. We may get to see them again at Calvis very soon, so they'll keep coming at us. And again, each time we play them, it's a good sample size for how much better we get throughout the season. And we'll see them again. We're hosting them in a few weeks here at Berkeley as well. So always a little excitement and quite in some ways a bit of a rivalry seeing them as much as we do. So yeah, it was great getting that early look with them and Michigan and Irvine, and we definitely hit the ground running. There wasn't really any hiding going into Palooza, and then that kind of continued into last weekend as well.
Yeah, and then just looking big picture, Core, the schedule. I was looking at it earlier today. I think only 19 games in the schedule. Some will play 27, near 30. Tell me a bit about your thought process on that number of games and why that works for you.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of a lot of things. So getting games is not easy. So This is just the climate we're in terms of trying to get people to travel up here, us being able to get down south, our regiment around going to Arizona and seeing certain teams within our conference play as well. So it gets tricky. So it's a scheduling piece as well as we are a little bit geographically challenged with the teams that are around us. So we got Davis, we got UOP, we got teams that we get, somewhat easy access to in terms of especially budget and scheduling out things with school schedules. So it's a bit of that. And then also wanting to make sure that we just create a schedule that's going to allow us to see good progress and get good competition and not just play to play, but sometimes get those quality reps and quality teams along the way. I would love, full disclosure, I'd love to play more games. I think games are really important and a big part of being a collegiate athlete is those experiences in those games. And so, yeah, we're doing everything in our power to kind of create more games in the next few years.
Well, you're gonna have an easy one coming up. If St. Mary's isn't on the schedule, I'll be surprised. That's your nearest neighbor right now, right?
Yes, for sure. We'll have to hashtag them.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to that one. I think they're going to start up at the Soda Aquatic Center there on Camp Lindo's campus when they get rolling next season. Talia, I'll come back to you. Just tell me a bit about your kind of growth from last season to this year. Obviously, a pretty stellar person in the cage and Isabel Williams before your time becoming the starter. But how did last year, from your perspective, go for you, and kind of how has that maybe built confidence coming into this season?
For sure. So my first season here, when I redshirted, I was obviously under the amazing Isabel Williams, and that was just an amazing season to learn everything I could from her. And she took me under her wing, whether that was encouraging me in game warm-ups, practices, teaching me everything she knew, just me kind of learning the ropes and testing the waters. And so last year in my first season, I was able to just kind of hit the ground running. I felt prepared from her preparing me, and I was confident with the team, and everyone was welcoming. And that's really exciting going into this year. I have that under my belt now. I do feel more confident in the cage, but I also just I've constantly had a team that has supported me and trusts me, and I trust them, which just leads to everything being somewhat easy.
And then tell us a bit about your journey. I think people see Georgia pop up on the roster. So wait a minute, we don't see too many athletes from Georgia play at this level. Give us a little bit of your background, kind of how you rose through the ranks, and then what occurred in Georgia from a growth and development and school club standpoint that allowed you to get to where you are now.
Yeah, so I grew up in NorCal, the East Bay area. I was a freshman at San Ramon Valley High School. I played a year there. I started playing water polo with 680, and then I moved to Georgia for my dad's relocation job. And in the town I was in, water polo was not a thing. It was not common at all. In Georgia, swimming is very popular, so there was still people that were swimming, and that was kind of how I started getting involved. But I had to commute to Atlanta, which was about an hour and a half away, to play any form of high school water polo. And so that started by me chartering on to another high school team. My own high school did not have a water polo team. So I was a sophomore playing on a high school team full of swimmers that just were like, hey, let's try water polo. They weren't used to kind of holding the ball, and I was in the goal trying to direct and teach and share all the knowledge I knew, obviously, from playing so competitively in California. And then every summer I would come out, continue to train with 680. Throughout the year, I would train with USA's Academy. Families would house me, take me on road trips, hotel trips, JOs, everything. You know, it takes a village, and everyone was willing to help out, which was really helpful. But throughout the season of being in high school and everything, my mom and dad would drive an hour and a half on weeknights to play with a master's program. They would practice from 7 to 8:30 at night. I would get home at 11 p.m., do any last minute homework in the car, whatever, and then go to school the next morning. And so it wasn't an easy process, but it was something I was so committed to, because at the end of the day, I just love water polo, and I always have. I've always been very passionate, and I knew that I wanted to play in college, and it was going to take what it had to take, and everyone was willing to give and help out and lend a helping hand, which, you know, helped me end up at Cal, which was always the dream.
That's amazing. I've many follow-up questions. I might detour here a bit, Coralie, and Talia's journey over the last few years. For starters, I have to imagine it is very difficult to move. So this is between freshman and sophomore year of high school. That had to be like a complete culture shock. How did you handle being kind of uprooted and having to go across the country to somewhere new?
So my mom grew up in East Bay area. She was born and raised in Danville. All I've ever known is Danville, California. I had grandma, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone was there. And then we moved to the other side of the country. I'd never moved before. It was terrifying, but thankfully I moved and transferred to a very small private high school. I had about 40 people in my class, so it was very easy to just be thrown into things. Sure. I was thrown into a uniform. It was an easy adjustment. Nothing was different, but, you know, there is differences socially. You know, there's the Southern charm, and there's the California just not everyone's going to say good morning to you. And so things were very different, but I was welcomed, and I love going back home now.
Yeah, when they ask, how are you? They actually want to know. It's not
exactly. I mean, you'll be walking on
the street. Don't actually answer that question. They actually want to hear an answer.
You're walking the dogs, and they'll say, good morning, how are you? Please tell me more.
That first couple of weeks in water polo, you're talking about playing with largely swimmers. You had been at a pretty high level, right? You're 680. How did you kind of reset your expectations or kind of adjust to like, hey, maybe I was someone who was kind of striving to be part of the most elite teams, to now maybe where I can be a bit of a teacher to some of these people and like help them grow their game. Like they're not going to have all the defensive assignments locked down the way that I'm used to with 680 or somewhere else. How did you adapt to that?
It actually came back to all the fundamentals. It was simplifying everything I knew, but also being willing to share the joy that I had for water polo. I would go to practice. I would try to simply explain things in games. I tried to keep communication short and concise, something they were able to understand and relate to. But the girls were so willing to hear me out and so accommodating. They were just as excited to be playing with me as I was to be playing with such a new crowd that I actually see it as an advantage now.
Now, what do all the friends back in Georgia think? They've seen you go off to Cal and you're starting for one of the best teams in the country. I assume you're still in touch with a good amount of these people?
Totally. They're super supportive, constant Instagram story likes, comments, people reaching out. My high school Georgia water polo coach actually went to college with one of our academic helpers who comes and watches practice on Wednesdays and everything. And it's so funny seeing how small the water polo world and community can be. And there's several overlaps here and there, but they're super supportive and encouraging constantly. So
top Southern Georgia food item that like you just don't get in Berkeley, but like you love from your time there.
So I actually had my days working at a barbecue shop, and I am a lover of some Southern ribs. I haven't entertained the collard greens or the potato grits yet. I'm not that Southern, but Southern, they do their Southern food right.
Sure. Get some sweet tea after your swim set. It just makes things up a bit. That's a great story, and super cool to hear kind of how you adapted and made a new community and new friends. Cora, I'll swing it back to you. You kind of hear that story. I mean, you talk about looking for athletes who are coachable and adaptable, right? It seems like Talia would be the greatest example of that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you have an athlete that's coming out to California every other weekend in some parts of throughout her year, and then definitely summer, if not just staying out in California through her summer, and then dedicating that much time and energy and love into this sport is easy to recruit and know that once they come here, they're going to want to do big things and be excited about playing a hard sport and doing it on a rigorous level where you're up against the best, and she's going to get after it every day and practice in every game that we approach, and that's contagious for how we approach things as a team, and so it wasn't difficult wanting her to be here because the amount of energy she puts into the sport is everything that coach wants.
And Cora, I'll stick with you. Looking towards this season, you have since your time at Cal, right? You've helped bring this program back to the conversation of amongst the elite teams. Got right there to the final, right? Not too long ago. When you think about it, you and the staff are kind of chatting, or you're with the team and you're thinking about where you want to go. What will separate you? What will be the next thing you have to do to kind of get over that mountaintop and be where you all want to be, which is national champions?
So I think, just taking this year as the goal, a lot of talent in the water with all the top teams, and all very comparable. I think it's going to be a very competitive year. The Calbus is going to be the first opportunity for us to kind of show what we bring to the ring with a 3-day tournament where you're going to go quarters, semis, finals, a little bit different format. And so, I think talent's only going to take these teams so far. I think the best team in the water and the most cohesive and the most passionate teams are going to rise to the top. And we have that. We have that kind of sparkle and motivation to do big things as a unit. Locker room feels and vibes are really strong and really high. They were in the fall as well, because the fall is sometimes a grind, and it's a good little indicator and microcosm of what things will kind of look like for us for the rest of the season into the spring. and that's continued into the spring. And now it's just sustaining that through February, March, and then in April. Getting healthy, staying healthy, and then bringing all of our pieces together and play as the best team with a lot of talent up and down our roster. And I think, again, you can have all the pieces, but that doesn't necessarily result in a championship. And so we have the pieces. Now we have to put them into the puzzle right and come out with a lot of heart and desire to get the job done at the championships.
A lot of good stuff there. She covered a lot of it, Talia, but what's your kind of take on, if you think back to even last year and where you came up short and how you want this year to be different? Is there a thing or things that are on your mind of, hey, if we just do this will make the difference?
Yeah, I think each year, and considering it's only my second year in the goal, you're learning new things every year. But I think this year we are really trying to tune into just playing as one unit. And that starts, as Cor mentioned, in the locker room. That starts in the fall, being willing to get through the grind, being willing to get through the hard conditioning practices when games and scrimmages are so few and far in between in the fall. And then coming into the spring, so excited to start playing games and showcase all the talent that we do have. But it starts with just spending time together constantly. And that can be hard, but that's also where teams start to grow and you see kind of the difference of high competitors in competition. But I think that's really important for Cal specifically is we truly love each other and we enjoy hanging out, whether that's meals outside of practice, meals after practice, all of them in between. We just love being around fellow Bears. And that's even with alums and seeing them this weekend. You see them interact and you look at yourself and you're like, that's how I'm interacting with my teammates right now. Is that going to be me in 20 years? And I mean, that's just what we can hope for in the future.
And that was a great example in the fall with the Bears and so many other teams being a part of Legacy Crown. And Talia, you mentioned your coaching staff, right? No disrespect to Lance, right? But you have two Olympic legends on your coaching staff with Cor and Petey. What is it like, especially at a Legacy Crown event where there's a big reminder of who they were as players? How often does the playing days come up? I mean, I doubt that Cor and Petey are walking around with their medals around their necks all the time. But as players, do you sometimes remember oh yeah, our coaches were super legit in the water as well? Does that kind of come up often, or what's kind of your take on that, you and the team?
Yeah, that's kind of just something that's always in the back of everyone's head, but you do kind of forget. And Cor will make her comments here and there. Oh, I used to be, the first to gross and go on the counter, or she likes to throw her nasty little lobs, especially on the goalies. But to be led by such strong female coaches that have had such successful playing days, it's just constant inspiration that, they've put in the work and they've done exactly what we've done. They've been in our shoes, and at the end of the day, they do know what they're talking about.
And Cor, last thing here as we just kind of wrap up, you got a chance to be a part of that celebration. We talked a bit during that broadcast back in November as well, but Talia was talking about the bond of the current team, and I don't know, teams are still close, but not every team has to, I think, maintain that love for each other that was on display with you and the rest of the women from 2000. It was for people that in some cases hadn't seen each other in a long time, to see the way everyone kind of clicked back together into the group was really just so impressive and I think really moving. From your perspective, what is it about that group that allowed everyone to do the job back in 2000 and then 25 years later now just are still can kind of find your place together once again?
Well, we all just trusted each other so much and had a lot of fun doing really hard things. And it's hard to have fun doing hard things. And so when you have people that around you that enjoy, like Talia was saying, the grind, and to be able to thrive and enjoy tough moments, that sample by sample over and over and over again, that there becomes this overwhelming feeling of trust, but it just fulfillment of joy and kind of those core memories, right? So I felt like I saw that movie where it's those balls drop and the marbles go into the thing. What's that movie called?
We're needing more to Go on, then just marbles.
But yeah, those core memories of all the trainings and the games and the travel and the food and really good food, really bad food, really hard trainings, really fun trainings, really bad games and really fun games. All that adds up to a ton of cool things to reflect on. And so when we get back together, it's just, you're just like, get to pick up and piece by piece go through some of those moments. And that's what you kind of saw when we got together again that night and reflect on all the good, bad, and the ugly through the years that we spent together. And then winning is fun too. I mean, we won a silver medal, if we want to call it that. I think Gubba might call it something else, but we, got to go through a lot of experiences outside of the wins as well that are going to just last forever. And a lot of tears, even just joining together. And then they got to kind of see that, like she said, seeing our alumni and then seeing my team come together in legacy, and then have that morsel of, oh, when all this is over and I don't get to play college ball anymore, I still have my buddies. I still have my memories. I still have all this amazing experiences that I get to reflect with awesome people down the road and continue to share that with each other, and then your families, your weddings, and all that stuff to come as well.
No, it's very cool, and it's something that you talk to enough athletes, you can't replicate it anywhere else. You won't find it in a different job or in some other thing. It's like you have to be in this grind together to kind of forge those sorts of relationships. Hey, great to talk with you both, Coralie, Simmons, Talia, Fonseca. Thanks for spending some time, and good luck the rest of the season here with the Bears.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Once again, thanks to Coach Coralie Simmons, Talia Fonseca for joining us. You can catch them in action this Saturday right here on Overnght when they host University of the Pacific. Now to our Malmsteen goal of the week, and we check in at the recent ODP Championship tourney in Texas. This is courtesy of our friends at Game On Live Studio.
It's number 2, passes it to 13. 13. Moving around, gets it to 9. 9 shoots and scores.
And don't forget, you can send in some of your favorite footage. Have a great goal of the week, perhaps a save of the week. We'd look at an interesting field block as well. Make sure you send us a message at USAWP on Instagram or on X. You can also check in with the Overnght social media staff as well, ON Water Polo on Instagram. And now let's take a look at our upcoming events. As we told you, lots of Dare to Dream water polo going on. 3 more events this weekend, plus a lot of ODP evaluation event for the girls coming up. National championships coming up for the boys and girls in the month of March. And of course, you can't forget about the National League starting February 6th in Southern California. Live coverage right here on Overnght. Live stats on 6/8 Sports. And as we told you at the top, the breaking news, the big news of the week, $25,000 prize pool allocated amongst the top 3 finishers in the National League Championship. So exciting. A big shout out to John Weeman and the Holos Law Group once again. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget, when you're on the counterattack, look weak side.